In 1997, her voice was the heartbeat of the world, a force that moved oceans. But just decades later, that same voice was imprisoned, trapped in a body that became its own cage. Celine Dion didn't just break records, she defined an era. Yet behind the 250 million albums and the legendary Las Vegas lights, a hidden storm was brewing. What happens when a woman whose life is built on breath and sound is suddenly confronted with silence? Welcome to the Nostalgic Culture Channel. Today, we go beyond the headlines to uncover the reality of her private struggle and the sacrifice that exacted a price no superstar should have to pay. We examine how her grueling confrontation with infertility and the loss of her husband may have served as catalysts for this rare pathology. Our narrative begins on March 30th, 1968, in the town of Charlemagne, Quebec, Canada. From her first breath, Céline Marie Claudette Dion displayed a supernatural aptitude for melody. With a voice of immense caliber, she quickly rose from her local roots to become one of the most formidable vocalists in the Francophone world. However, her trajectory toward the international firmament was ignited by a single encounter. Meeting the man who would become the love of her life, the producer René Angélil. He did not merely believe in her capabilities, he wagered his entire future on her entry into the music industry. Together, they navigated a labyrinth of challenges and dismantled formidable barriers, forging a resolute partnership meant to endure. Dion's phenomenon knew no geographic limits. Her compositions touched the hearts of millions worldwide. From the legendary collaboration with Peabo Bryson on Beauty and the Beast, to the transcendent resonance of My Heart Will Go On.
You have come to show you my heart will go on.
The emotional cornerstone of the cinematic epic Titanic, her unmistakable timbre reached listeners' souls across every culture and generation. Returning to the origin of this odyssey, we find ourselves back in Charlemagne. Born the youngest of 14 children in a modest household, Celine was nurtured in an atmosphere saturated with affection and rhythm. With unwavering encouragement from her family, she began her journey on small local stages. At age 12, her destiny converged with her primary passion, music. In a bid to secure her discovery by the industry, Celine's mother and brother collaborated to write a song specifically for her. They produced a demo featuring the young vocalist and sent it to numerous production houses. The pivotal turning point in her professional and personal life came during an audition in her hometown. It was here that René Angélil entered the frame. Initially, the renowned musical executive paid little attention to the recording. However, after a persistent phone call from Celine's brother, he relented and granted the fledgling artist an audience. In 1981, René made a bold commitment to her talent. In a move bordering on desperation, he mortgaged his home to fund Celine's inaugural studio effort, La Voix du Bon Dieu.
C'est un fil trop magique, ce don de la musique. On a tout été, la voix du bon Dieu.
This French-language debut was a triumph, selling more than 100,000 copies in Canada and yielding 2 major hits. This professional merger also sparked a romantic saga that would defy all subsequent hardships. The 26-year age gap between the producer and his protégé did not escape public scrutiny. The relationship drew skepticism and criticism from many. Yet the authentic bond between Celine and René proved impenetrable to external criticism. At first, they chose to keep their romance out of the public eye, anticipating backlash. Over time, however, they decided to stop concealing the depth of their devotion. When we met, It was love at first sight, and I speak not only for myself, but for him as well," Celine later said in an interview. She acknowledged the initial difficulties, noting that the public struggled to understand their relationship. For them, however, only their mutual feeling mattered. It was the bedrock that sustained them through the decades. Bolstered by the success of her debut album, Celine Dion began to earn acclaim across Canada and Europe. In 1988, she reached a definitive milestone in her career. On stage in Dublin, Ireland, she won the Eurovision Song Contest. Her evocative performance of Ne partez pas sans moi resonated across the continent.
Ne partez pas sans moi, laissez-moi vous suivre.
As Eurovision champion, Celine was no longer a local secret. She was a household name, poised to conquer the international stage. With the Eurovision crown secured, Celine Dion became a globally recognized figure. She stood on the precipice of global dominance, embarking on her definitive journey into the international music market. However, after solidifying her prestige in Canada and across Europe, she faced one of the most formidable challenges of her life: breaking into the American music industry. The primary obstacle was the linguistic barrier. Celine understood that global supremacy required her to perform in English, a necessity that demanded she master an entirely new language. Choosing to face this trial head-on, she made a courageous decision to devote herself feverishly to linguistic study. Enlisting private tutors, she immersed herself in intensive sessions to refine her command of the new idiom. This dedication fueled a meteoric ascent. She began releasing a string of hit albums that cemented her status as one of the preeminent voices of the modern era. The year 1992 marked a turning point when she recorded the legendary duet with Peabo Bryson for Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Ever as before, and ever just as your beauty and the
The track earned her both a Grammy and an Academy Award, catapulting her into a new stratosphere of fame. In 1993, Dion announced her feelings for her manager by declaring him the color of her love in the dedication section of her third English-language album, The Color of My Love, which featured the massive hit The Power of Love, further cementing her dominance in the industry.
'Cause I'm your lady, for the power of love.
René and Angélil became engaged on March 30th, 1993, which was Dion's 25th birthday. They married on December 17th, 1994, at Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal, Quebec. 3 years later, in 1996, the release of Falling Into You became a global phenomenon, securing 2 Grammys, including the coveted Album of the Year, and selling more than 32 million copies worldwide. Systematically, Celine captured the devotion of audiences across all demographics. Her formidable vocal range, magnetic stage presence, and raw emotional delivery established her as one of the most celebrated figures in musical history. Her singular, potent, and evocative voice enchanted global audiences, and her iconic performances on international stages, most notably her legendary residencies in Las Vegas, won the hearts of millions. In 1997, My Heart Will Go On, the theme from the cinematic masterpiece Titanic, became a universal anthem.
You have come to show you my heart will go on.
The song earned the Oscar for Best Original Song and made international accolades a routine part of Celine's life. Throughout her prolific career, she accumulated a mountain of trophies, including numerous Grammys and World Music Awards. Her incomparable timbre and passionate interpretations established her as one of the most decorated and respected artists on the planet. Yet life is seldom a straight line of triumphs. Despite her success, Celine faced pockets of harsh criticism and skepticism from those who doubted her ability to thrive in the Anglophone market. She silenced the detractors by proving that her voice transcends linguistic and cultural boundaries. Gradually, she rose to the status of a true diva, revered by peers and fans across generations. She was the undisputed sovereign of the charts, standing at the summit of the world, with records that remain unbroken to this day. But do you believe immense success serves as a shield against pain, or does it only make the eventual fall harder to endure? Share your perspective below. In 1999, the foundation of her world was shattered when René Angélil received a devastating diagnosis of throat cancer. This grim news marked the start of a valiant struggle against the disease. Without hesitation, Celine set her soaring career aside, dedicating herself fully to caring for her husband. Watching René fight this illness was the most agonizing experience of my life, Celine later confessed in an interview. My only desire was to remain at his side and support him through every stage of the journey. Simultaneously, the couple faced another harrowing chapter. Celine was diagnosed with infertility. The quest for motherhood became a grueling odyssey of emotional highs and devastating lows. Nevertheless, the bond between Celine and René remained unbreakable. In May 2000, Dion had 2 small operations at a fertility clinic in New York to improve her chances of conceiving, after deciding to use in vitro fertilization as their last hope of realizing their dream of having a family.
We tried 4 times to have a child. We're still trying. We're on the 5th try.
After multiple attempts and a long, difficult journey, Celine Dion received her most precious gift in 2001. She gave birth to her firstborn, René Charles. The arrival of her son brought immense joy and fulfillment to the family, further strengthening the couple's bond and marking a new era of profound personal meaning for the artist. The transition into motherhood proved transformative for Celine. She immersed herself fully in this new vocation, discovering an inexhaustible reservoir of affection in nurturing and educating her child. Celine remained a steadfast, ever-present presence in her son's life, witnessing every pivotal milestone in his development. Her public reflections were saturated with wonder. She often spoke of the profound gratitude she felt for the privilege of being a parent. The birth of René Charles was the most significant benediction of my existence, she revealed in an interview. Motherhood has bestowed upon me an indescribable joy and an unconditional love I never imagined possible. The family's expansion continued in 2010. After years of infertility, Celine and René celebrated the arrival of twins, Eddie and Nelson. Their presence filled their home with laughter, strengthening the family's core. Throughout their upbringing, the singer remained fiercely protective of her children's anonymity, deliberately shielding them from the paparazzi's invasive glare. She placed a premium on the sanctity of childhood, striving to provide a serene, stable environment far removed from the turbulence of public life. Despite an exhaustive professional itinerary, Celine consistently prioritized her household, balancing the demands of a global career with her role as a devoted mother. "Being a mother was always my paramount desire," she said, her voice breaking. "The journey through infertility was arduous, but holding my children for the first time made every tear and every hardship worth it. They are my ultimate blessing." Celine finally had the family she had fought so hard to build. But in your life, have you noticed that the moments of greatest peace are often followed by the most unexpected storms? Tell us in the comments, do you believe in the calm before the storm? Or was this just a cruel twist of fate for Celine? The sanctuary she had built was about to be breached, not by the paparazzi or the critics, but by an enemy no amount of success could keep at bay. Despite exhaustive medical interventions and her unwavering devotion, her husband, René, could not overcome his second battle with cancer. On January 14, 2016, he passed away at 73, leaving a void in Celine's soul that defies closure. "René was my fortress, My unconditional support, she said, visibly shaken. Losing him was like losing a part of myself. He will always be my guardian angel. The couple's eldest son, René Charles, gave the eulogy on January 22nd, 3 days before his 15th birthday. The cruelty of the period was relentless. On January 16th, 2 days after Angélil's death, on what would have been her husband's 74th birthday, one of Dion's brothers, Daniel, died at age 59, also of cancer. These deaths followed the earlier loss of her father, Adamar, in 2003, culminating in a triple tragedy of unprecedented proportions. This profound agony necessitated a temporary withdrawal from the public eye. Celine sought refuge in her family and her faith. The path toward healing was long and grueling, yet she eventually found the strength to persist, motivated by memories of her loved ones and a vow to honor their legacy. I never imagined I would endure such concentrated loss, she reflected after her period of mourning. Finding light within that darkness was difficult, but I knew I had to carry on. For my children, for myself, and for the love we shared. Driven to reconnect with her essence, Celine eventually resolved to return to the stage. Her reappearance was met with a complex tapestry of public emotion, elation at her vocal return, shadowed by mounting concern over her increasingly thin frame. The media fixated on her weight loss, triggering constant speculation about her physical well-being. Celine, however, remained impervious to the cacophony of external opinions. She made it clear that her physical appearance was not a source of personal anxiety. Her focus was squarely on her internal health and self-confidence. While tabloids linked her weight to the depths of her grief, she maintained that she had navigated that dark corridor and found the resolve to move forward. "You cannot cease living," she advised during a press engagement. "Move forward. Today is the inaugural day of the rest of my life, and I know I have nothing to fear." In a separate conversation with Good Morning America, she addressed the rumors directly. "I am thin. It is true I am a bit thin, but everything is fine. There is nothing wrong." She told the world she was just fine. Looking back at these images, do you think she was truly okay, or was she simply shielding us from a reality too painful to face? Write "believe" in the comments if you think her strength was her greatest mask. The truth behind those reassurances was far darker than anyone imagined, and the real battle was just beginning behind closed doors. Despite her public assurances that her slender frame was merely a personal state of being, the autumn of 2021 brought a definitive halt to the machinery of her career. In October of that year, the world watched with mounting apprehension as Celine announced the postponement of her highly anticipated Las Vegas residency. The culprit was a series of severe, unrelenting muscle spasms that made professional obligations impossible. The atmosphere of speculation finally lifted in 2022 when Celine shared a revelation that was as heartbreaking as it was clinical. A diagnosis of stiff person syndrome.
Have been diagnosed with a very rare neurological disorder called stiff person syndrome.
This neurological anomaly, affecting only 2 people out of every million, introduced a brutal new topography to her daily life. The gravity of her decline was echoed by a family member who described a woman imprisoned by her own body, unable to rise from her bed, move, or walk because of paralyzing pain in her legs and feet. The icon had become profoundly frail, her weight plummeting as the disease asserted its dominance. With the transparency that defined her character, Celine addressed her global audience in an emotional video. She confirmed she would not be physically ready to kick off her European tour in February, underscoring the profound toll the disease had taken on her life.
I've been dealing with problems with my health for a long time.
She detailed the mechanics of the rare neurological disorder, explaining how it had compromised both her mobility and her vocal apparatus. These involuntary spasms had permeated her daily routine, making the simple acts of walking and singing once as natural as breathing, staggeringly difficult. Faced with this crisis, Celine made the existential choice to prioritize her recovery. "To find my way back to you, I have no choice but to focus entirely on my health," she noted, expressing fragile hope that she was on the path to stabilization. In her public disclosure, Celine highlighted the pervasive ignorance surrounding this rare infirmity. She laid bare the struggle to control her legendary voice and the battle to regain the physical stamina required for her iconic performances. Throughout this odyssey, she acknowledged the indispensable support of her medical team and the vital role her children play in sustaining her endurance. On July 26, 2024, Dion sang Hymne à l'amour from the Eiffel Tower to conclude the Summer Olympics opening ceremony.
On peut bien rire de moi, je ferai n'importe quoi.
It was her first public performance in 4 years. The Guardian wrote that Dion's performance was an undaunted, beatific return. In 2025, Dion canceled a planned guest performance in that year's Eurovision final due to complications from her illness. For Celine, this is not merely a medical recovery, but a fight for her soul. Singing is her essence, and the prospect of permanent silence is an agonizing burden. Yet her legacy is already etched beyond music. Throughout her time in the spotlight, she has been a titan of humanitarianism. From her alliance with the Canadian Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, to her support for victims of natural disasters, and her foray into gender-neutral fashion. Her life stands as a testament to the belief that influence should be a tool for global equity and compassion. Celine Dion's story is more than a collection of platinum records and soaring high notes. It is a testament to a voice that refused to be silenced, even when the world, and her own body, demanded it. She remains a symbol of pure, unyielding strength in an industry that often breaks the fragile. If you believe these legendary voices deserve to be remembered, share them with your friends. Subscribe to help us preserve the echoes of music history. But while Celine found the strength to carry on, another voice from her generation fought a much darker battle. She was the one woman who could truly rival Celine's power, a voice so divine that they simply called her the Voice. Yet behind the glamour of the 80s and 90s, Whitney Houston was concealing a secret that would eventually cost her everything. To understand the tragic parallel to Celine's rise, click the video on your screen to watch the untold story of Whitney Houston. We'll see you there.